Wake up. It's time for Primal Scream. Hey, welcome back to the Primal Scream. I'm Matt.
I am Todd.
And I'm Aaron.
This episode of the Primal Scream podcast is brought to you by Good Karma Meat. Put some meat in your mouth and feel good about it. After all, our animals die happy. Good Karma Meat. No additives, preservatives, or guilt.
Yeah, so there you go.
What's the date today?
It's don't tell me. I'm trying to. Oh my fuck!
It's the 7th.
It's January 7th, 2014.
It's a new year.
Woo!
Hey, the first podcast of the new year.
First podcast of the new year.
Nice.
That's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, and that wonderful, luscious voice you heard is the returning champion, Aaron Bunce. B-U-N-C-E.
Yay.
Since there was a bit of a faux pas, a bit of a writer's block, maybe? Can you call that? Can you call it writer's block or just
me not knowing how to spell somebody's name? Pretty simple.
There could actually be somebody with that last name on Twitter, so you never know.
Yeah, he probably thought he got great press.
He's like, where the fuck is all this coming from?
I wrote a book?
I don't know that guy.
He could be a writer, too. You never know. Somebody likes my book. I didn't realize they read it.
There you go.
All right, for those of you who do get our Twitter feed and do listen to this podcast, you'll notice that we accidentally sent out some, hey, I love Aaron Bunce, B-U-N-T-Z. And Aaron doesn't spell his last name like that. It's B-U-N-C-E.
Although that was a common misinterpretation in high school. So
yeah, you were called Blunts.
Yeah.
Right?
People thought that was funny.
Could be a worse name.
It could be.
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
Yep, I think.
What are we talking about today? You know what? I didn't ask you what the current events were. We didn't look into any of that stuff.
Well, probably the biggest current event, especially if you're from the Midwest, is
the fucking weather.
Our polar vortex, as they're calling it, polar vortex.
Oh, right? Jesus Christ!
Sounds very science fiction.
Is that like straight line winds?
They say it usually stays up around the Arctic Circle in prevailing winds, or of course they're counting it to climate change, has allowed it to drop down in this area, and we don't see weather like this. It's not a common thing at all.
Well, it's not common today, but it was. I mean, we had some really terrible winters when I was a kid.
I remember
having a shitload of snow when I was a kid.
As a kid in Iowa, I remember digging like forts in the ditches. You know, the snow was so high that it filled the ditch and even had a mountain on top of it.
Sure.
And you could tunnel down underneath it all.
Oh, heck
but
yeah.
that was snow.
That was when
cold like this, though. They're talking about the cold. You're right. The snow is not uncommon, and having a normal heavy winter for us is not uncommon. But this level of cold, and that's cold for us. So imagine if you're in Minnesota. The governor shut down the entire state. So no kids went to school. The entire state, he did an announcement, shut the whole entire school system down. Nobody's going to school.
Let me ask you this.
It's crazy.
For those listeners that we have around the world in warmer climates, tell them
you lucky bastards.
You fuckers. Yeah, go ahead and giggle. Giggle while you listen to our misery. Hey Todd, tell them what there's a thing called temperature, and then there's a thing called wind chill. Okay, so you're going to have two different temperatures, what it physically is and what it physically feels like, which is a real thing because of the wind. So what was the temperature and what was the wind chill just last night? Do you know?
I know that it got down to temperature-wise, -17 last night.
And what was the wind chill?
In Iowa. And that means the wind chill was like -26, 25.
The night before was actually colder.
Right.
It hit -16, but the wind chill was -55.
Right.
So it felt like you're in negative fucking 55 degrees.
And what always surprises me is that's a lot below freezing, because we think is zero.
Freezing is 32.
So we're talking like it's scary.
You have 100 degree swing to like, oh, it's 55 degrees. I still need a sweatshirt.
Right. Yeah, or going to a football game and you have to wear a hoodie because it's a little bit chilly. It's it's
-55.
Well, and the hard part is it's super dangerous. I mean, even us knuckleheads who are like, oh, I'll just run out to my car in a hoodie and my flip flops on, or my slippers. It really can hurt you.
Shit, that
badly.
reminds me. I got to bring my kids in from outside.
That's not funny.
You got to tie
All right.
That's not funny.
Everybody here knows I'm joking, but everybody out there, you people listening, don't know I'm joking. I'm joking.
Every kid in the front of the house is like,
Just just keep holding on to that hot water. I'll bring out some more hot water. I'll put it on you.
That is kind of funny that YouTube's been inundated by people's videos of what they're doing with these cold temperatures. They're going outside and throwing a whole bucket of hot boiling water into the air and just evaporates in a big cloud. When I was in your shed yesterday, we were doing a little housework for Matt here. And I was in the shed,
and he's freezing.
So I was out of the wind.
He's freezing.
Gloves,
I can't fucking find it. What do you want me to look for?
Gloves, boots, hats. I'm all ready to go, and I'm breathing, and you have that fog that comes out from your breath, and it just hung in the air. I was like, I'm making my own clouds. So then I was like, oh shit, I can walk through it. That's crazy. And then Dummy.
Knucklehead. I prefer
looking out the
Knucklehead.
window going, it's by this, it's this, it's this. And he goes, fuck it. And he runs out there, t-shirt, jeans, and his socks. He runs across the yard.
It's not very far.
And
I'm running through snow. I'm running through these little snow
But he
trucks.
runs through the snow and comes back in the house. No snow is stuck to his feet. It's just too fucking cold.
No, I'm not wet. That was it. I wasn't wet. There was some snow on my socks. I just brushed it off, but it was so cold that I could brush off snow, and it had not melted at all, and my socks were completely dry.
But would you rather have him come running outside in his boxers and his bunny slippers?
That would have been a little funnier.
That would have been funnier, but it would have hurt a lot more.
How rosy your skin would be.
I tell you what, the other day when I was at work, there's this thing where you have to go through a monitor, and if the monitor says you have too much radon on your person, then you have to go back into the clean area or into this other area, change out into hospital scrubs, and then go back through the monitor. And then generally, almost 100% of the time, the machine will say, "You're clear. No radiation. Go ahead and process through." Right?
Radon.
Yeah, right. Damn radon. So I had to completely change out of my uniform, and I was in these blue hospital scrubs. And the next place I had to go to was outside, and it was like the furthest place that I had to walk to. And if any of you have ever worn hospital scrubs, you'll know it's a lot like being naked.
Yeah, there's not much in there.
Yeah.
So I went up to my supervisor and I said, I need a new uniform. I need new pants. I need a new shirt right now. He's like, yeah, that's no problem. I understand. It's so cold. Let's make sure that happens. He goes, just walk over to that building right over there and see the trainer, and they'll get you a new uniform. I walk over to this place, which is only 50 yards at most, probably even less than that.
Yeah, it's not far.
Not very far. I just walk out of one building, walk outside, go to another building. It was so cold, my nipples hurt. My fucking nipples hurt, dude. What the fuck is that? I mean, I've been outside and I've come inside and I've been like, whew, that was cold. Damn, my core, I'm just shivering. I'm just so cold. That wasn't it. I went from one building to the next and my nipples actually hurt. That's fucking cold.
That's pretty cold. I had an interesting experience coming home from work the other day when it was negative, 55 was a wind chill. We threw a bath towel up by the back door so the girls could come in and, take off their shoes and not track water all over the place. Well, I stepped inside from the house and the towel was a little bit damp. My boots were so cold that the towel instantly froze to my boots. And I had to just stand there and take them off. But that's how cold it was. So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing in the news recently.
Biggest
I
thing
would
in the
say.
news.
Yeah, I mean, there's always, crazy shit happening all over the place. I mean, everything is kind of revolving around that. People are getting like frozen shut into their cars. There's an Amtrak train that pulled in somewhere and was frozen shut, and people had to stay on the train for the night. I mean, a lot of this stuff is having to kind of, because it's not just Iowa, the Midwest from, I want to say like Idaho, curving down through Missouri and south up, and now the East Coast is getting nailed with it too.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because look at Cincinnati. They had the football game in Cincinnati on Sunday, and it was raining during the game. At the same time that here it was negative 30-something below zero on Sunday.
Well, you look at the the 49ers game, them versus Green Bay, and Todd, you were telling me one of the guys from San Francisco, from the 49ers team wasn't even wearing a long sleeve t-shirt.
Lots of them
wasn't even wearing a long sleeve shirt underneath their pads.
And I think part of it is like the Green Bay guys all had at least some kind of body armor sleeve kind of thing
smart.
on. Because I think they know more about it. Where if you're ego kind of driven football player stud.
You can
You're
say
like,
stupid.
you know what, I'm gonna go. I don't think they're stupid. I think they're just going. You know what? I'm a badass. I'm gonna go to Green Bay. I'm gonna fucking knock shit around, and I'm just gonna wear. I'm not gonna fucking put sleeves on without having any idea, having maybe grown up in California.
Yeah, but those people that play football, they don't just play in San Francisco year round. They've been around. They know. They're not dumb.
Some of those guys don't, though. I mean, you look at some of the guys that play college football in Texas, and I know that some of them that play in the pros now have actually they'd never seen snow before.
What?
And most games are not like that. Green Bay is really the only stadium where they have like New York, Chicago, they'll have like weather, like snow and stuff like that. But bitter, horrible cold like that is what Green Bay is known for. Is that even when there's no snow on the ground, it's just fucking an ice box.
Well, they call it the frozen tundra for a reason.
Exactly. And did you see the field? It was just fucking dead brown. The field looks so horrible. You could just tell it was like the grass is like, too much, sorry.
Well, can you imagine getting tackled on that field? I mean, it's got to be rock hard.
Or kicking a football or getting tackled or blocking or anything would just had to hurt bad.
And it makes the ball so slippery. So you have to keep the balls. They had balls in front of heaters because like a tire in your car, cold air inside of it starts deflating, and then they got to pump them up, and then they get real slick because they're real stiff and hard to grab. I thought that the whole goddamn game was fantastic. I mean, it was the playoff games this last weekend or the wild card games were fantastic. And next weekend is going to be another incredible because we usually have these teams that are really good and against teams that aren't so good who maybe squeaked in. Every single game this week went to within at least a touchdown of each other, if not a field goal. Even the ones like Cincinnati, it was like 45-47. I mean, way scoring game, but what was I thinking of a different
San
game?
Diego beat like 27-10. But I mean, nobody said, hey, San Diego, you know they're going to go
the powerhouses
all the way east to Cincinnati.
Right.
To where, they're talking about rain, freezing rain, cold weather. No one expects San Diego to go that far east and then beat Cincinnati at home.
Yeah.
Just like nobody expects people to go up to Seattle and play that tough in Seattle or have San Fran, Northern California, go to Green Bay. And they're talking about -50 wind chill in Green Bay. And I bet it was that cold or colder. And with those temperatures, they talk about having, frostbite within minutes of exposure.
Well, and that's what I don't get. So I know Kaepernick is a young kid who hasn't seen the ways of the world yet. And so he's running around Green Bay with his big, humongous tattooed biceps, But at what point are you going to get yourself in trouble? Because he was on the field for good chunks of time where he had nothing covering his arms, and the wind chill was pretty bad.
Yeah, but how much of that is pride? Though, look at most of those guys. You spend that much money on tattoos. I imagine there's a small portion of their mind that says, "I don't want to cover these tattoos."
I get that part. I'm saying, at what point are you going to start getting in like physical trouble that you have a certain part of your body exposed?
I'm really kind of surprised that the coach or the trainers or any of these people that are in charge wouldn't have said, "We have to win, and you have to be in the best position possible, and it's our job to make sure that you're in the best position possible. You have to wear this stuff." Period.
Right.
Done deal. This is the uniform for today, bare minimum.
Because, they talk about quarterbacks wearing gloves and not wearing gloves to inhibit their throwing, but your arms being covered is not going to inhibit you from doing something physically.
You wouldn't think it would.
Yeah, you being on the line, a lineman, having a block, having a long sleeve shirt on, that's not going to impede you.
Well, I want to say there's only a handful that didn't have anything on.
But you'd think that. I know that some of them said they don't like wearing, they'll wear like the undersized jerseys because there's less for the other guys to grab onto.
Oh, right.
If you're an O-lineman or a D-lineman or if you're a wide receiver, there's less to grab onto.
And that Packer-Niner game, man, those receivers were all over each other.
Yeah.
They're grabbing and pulling and yanking and all the hand warmer thing they had in front of them.
It's like flag football out there. Exactly. But with Under Armour, you get tight enough fabrics that are slick enough that I can't imagine there'd be any extra to grab onto. Yeah. So besides your hand towel,
I'm so comfortable right now. This is probably the most comfortable I've ever been.
What's funny is I know how much you love pro football, Matt.
Thank you. I do. I love it.
I know you follow it religiously, and of course, it's extremely sarcastic. One of the bigger things that came out this week was marijuana went for sale in Colorado. Right, the first person in line to get one was
the senator.
Nope, no. Was I was just wondering. A vet who was suffering from PTSD and was hoping that would help relieve some of his symptoms, which we know supposedly that works.
Okay,
and then now they're running out of pot. They have such a demand that they're running out of pot. And what I want conservatives to start saying, "Hey, here's a moneymaker. This is a moneymaker for states or federal or whatever it is. You can make money by doing this. Because you're taxing at 25%, right? Is that what you said, Aaron? Was it 25%?
I knew it was high. I didn't. It was whether it was 25% or.
I mean, when you look at it, when you come at a subject from that point of view, you're basically saying, I want everyone who's listening, who's making a decision, not on any moral or ethical decision, but only on the financial sell your soul decision. I'm not saying that selling pot will make you sell your soul, but there's people out there that have been voting no against legalizing pot for they feel moral reasons. So to try, that is not the way I would want to win somebody over.
No,
it is a positive, but you know what?
It's a negative assumption on conservatives too, because I mean they tend to be more fiscally conservative, and that's one of the things that appeals to me about conservatism is the economic part. And I'm not about taxing everybody and that kind of thing either, but I think they are about generating money,
right?
And so my thought, I would actually one piece of that is
I would actually look on conservatives in a worse light than I already do if they were to say, "Whoa, they were right. Look at this cash cow. Let's make it legal." You know, at that point, it's like, all you're looking at is money.
Right.
That's it. You made it illegal, not because of moral or ethical reasons. You did it out of money because somebody wanted marijuana not to be sold. They want it to be illegal so that drug dealers can make more money on it and cartels can make more money on it.
I think, I don't know if it's as I get older that I see through more things, but it really seems to me that we've been sold such a bad bill of goods. I think
that's a really nice way of saying it.
What's great,
eloquent.
I think it's very eloquent. I think it's a pretty common way of doing it. But who's the guy that that was banned from TED that we talked about? Graham Hancock. So his banned TED thing. One of the funnier parts of it was him saying, "So we're told that these drugs right here are okay. So we have alcohol, we have caffeine, we have tobacco, and these things, first of all, are a horrible." Mind-altering drugs. They're boring. They cause us tremendous harm. But this is what is okay. And pharmaceuticals. Don't forget pharmaceuticals. But you want to try DMT. You want to smoke pot. You want to drop acid. Those things. Oh man, those are the real bad ones. We've been protecting you from those for this whole entire time. So I mean, when you get those two contrasts put up in front of you, I think that's one of those reasons why. My wife has said to me, "Wow, I'm surprised you're interested in this stuff." And I'm like, "Well, I've been told forever that it's bad and it's going to kill me and it's wrong. But you can't tell me that more people have died dropping acid than people have died from alcohol.
Well,
you know what I mean? Or pot. Or
add to that too, though. You look at most of these controlled substances, and how many people have died from them from impurities or poisons they use to cut a lot of these drugs, heroin, the people that improperly make stuff like methamphetamines." A lot of overdoses because there's so many impurities. And I mean, look at the chemicals they use to cut heroin. It's like, my God, these things they're all toxic.
Right.
And they all end up in the drug afterwards. So
is that new? Have you guys heard of that new drug that I have no idea if this is urban legend or if it's a real thing. Crocodile? Have you heard of crocodile?
No.
Dundee.
No, I'm going to Google this shit. But I had thought that this drug called crocodile. I thought I had seen it on YouTube. Well, and it's horrible pictures where this drug is just aggressively eating away your flesh.
It's a drug?
Right. Yeah.
Well, I just don't like the fact that every time something like Special K, I think was the most recent one that's like a marijuana kind of like substance, and they start banning right away because somebody died. I'm like, you're no longer going to convince me not to do something because somebody died. When we have an epidemic of alcoholism and liver disease in this country. It's just not going to happen. I'm going to wait until I hear more about it, and I'm skeptical now of like, you're wanting to ban this for what reason? Not just because some kid who is goofy and unsupervised and allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants with his life does something crazy. It's like the guy who chugged, you hear about that kid who drank an entire bottle of soy sauce and killed him. Well, that's stupid too, but they're not going to ban soy sauce. So it's like,
well, just like we're not going to ban prescription drugs. I've been on some medications before. You look at the pharmacist has to print you out it's either a laundry list or it's a short list, but the list, albeit of possible side effects, and they can range anywhere from, hey, skin blemishes to death. It can kill you, and these are but your doctor says that you need it. It could kill you, but it could also fix whatever is wrong with you.
I'm going to say that there is a Dennis Miller did a stand up on HBO, and he still had a show on there that he did. He goes, and you might have electricity arcing between your nipples, but it's really, really good for you. It's going to be okay in the long run.
So when I brought up crocodile, it's spelled KROKODIL. It is a very cheap form of heroin from Russia.
Oh, that makes sense.
And it's hitting the streets in the United States in New York. And it's flesh eating. It's a flesh eating street drug.
So, and people, the high is so great that people are willing to have their flesh eaten to try it.
It doesn't have to be great. I mean, it's heroin. I mean, anybody who's hooked on heroin or
it's highly addictive, flesh eating. Some people are calling it the zombie drug because it's so addictive and it just rots you. It's crazy.
That's kind of frightening.
It is very frightening.
It is. Well, I mean, I guess, and again, maybe I should preface it by saying I don't want to be not informed about things that are happening. But if somebody's like, "Hey, this is the newest drug," and a kid died taking it, we got a label in a Schedule 1, and nobody can have their hands on it. I'm just right away going, "Okay, who's making all these decisions?" I'm kind of going back to that.
Who's making the decisions to what? Legalize or criminalize?
That's why I as much as it sounds probably crazy, I think that you should just legalize everything. If somebody is going to make the choice to take crocodile into their home and acquire a flesh-eating disease for whatever reason, it's on you, buddy.
Then what? Their lives are so crappy they deserve to die?
No, that it's.
I'm not saying that.
No, I'm just saying that we can't regulate that. We can't stop that from happening. Anybody's going to be able to do whatever they want to themselves, anyways. So why make all drugs illegal when there's always going to be some dumbass who's going to go do something stupid with it? There's always going to be that guy who drinks a bottle of soy sauce or, decides to do a flesh-eating drug or do that bath salt stuff and chew that guy's face off in Miami. That shit's always going to happen.
Oh, right.
So your point of contention is we could utilize our resources to enforce it as it is illegal, or we could legalize it and then therefore we can kind of standardize and control product quality. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I don't know if you could. I mean, I'm not sure exactly that I would want to do it. Standardized quality of heroin. I'm not sure. That sounds like a great idea. But I'm saying that I'm not. I just don't think it's like abortion. I would never want it to be. It should be a choice that people have. I would never want my wife to have an abortion or my sister or anybody that I know to have an abortion, but I'm never going to take away that right from somebody else. To me, it's kind of along the same lines. I would never say you shouldn't do heroin. I'm sorry. I would say I would probably not do heroin. I don't think you should do it. It's not a good idea. But I'm not going to say, I can't make you stop and it's not illegal. If you want to do it, it's on you.
But these drugs are more of there's a reason why people are taking drugs.
But don't you think they're trying to find crazier and crazier drugs to take because they're always trying to find something else because what's available isn't available? Or is that?
But you know what? You're making things that are ridiculous super popular. I mean, what about Jackass, the television show Jackass?
Right.
The worst thing that I ever took away from Jackass was when they put a baby car seat on top of the car. And then the lady got in the car and drove away, and people were freaking out and running and screaming after the car, trying to save the baby.
Horrible.
It was so horrible. It was one of those things that if I were to see something like that today, maybe I would run after the car. Maybe. And there would be a small part in my brain that would say, are you being punked right now?
Yeah.
Well, are you being punked? Are you being desensitized? Have I been desensitized because I saw this stupid fucking show that was, so funny. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, it made some people laugh, but it desensitized people to a really horrible way of living, a really horrible action.
But isn't that what sensationalization has done to us as a people, though? I mean, we've sensationalized everything.
So everything else becomes mundane. Yeah. I mean, it really does.
Yeah. And then, you're always working for the next high.
So how can you fight that?
And that high could be watching the next Jackass episode or the
next Kardashian episode or whatever it is. Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. It's looking for that next opportunity to get some kind of buzz from something stupid or outrageous or whatever. I was also going to tell you really quick that there's a 15% excise tax on pot, a special 10% sales tax, and also a 2.9% sales tax from the state on marijuana. So it's almost
28%.
Well, you got 10,
15, 10, 3.
Almost 30% in sales tax.
Close. I heard it was 25. I'm like, that's really high. But you look at when they first instituted that alcohol and the tobacco tax, they were pretty high, and people cried out. And then, of course, they've gotten higher over the years.
Do they have can you grow pot on your own? Can you have up to one plant or something like that?
Yeah, it's one plant, I think.
Why would I go somewhere when I could just grow it myself?
What are you talking about? In marijuana? Denver?
Yeah. Oh, in Colorado, period.
In Colorado, you can grow one plant.
One plant. Oh, God. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you just grow a plant? Why don't you find the best kush you could possibly find? Find a friend who knows how to handle stuff. We all have gardens. Why would you not have one plant in your basement under some LED grow lights? You're set.
Well, yes, because one plant would become 5 plants, and heck, if nobody's going to check my backyard, 5 plants becomes 50 plants, and all of a sudden, hey, I'm making quite a bit of money here selling pot out the back of my house. Why not?
I would love to be a medical marijuana dispenser. I would. I honestly, part of me likes taking it to the man and taking it to like everybody's expectations of how bad this drug is.
It shouldn't be legal. It shouldn't be illegal. And when you make it legal
for medical purposes,
you're not giving it to the man. The man is taxing the shit out of you, and then man is butt raping you because you're growing a plant that should be completely free, and you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want with it. Same thing with me. If I make something out of if I grow tomatoes in my backyard, should I be taxed 28% because I sold some fucking tomatoes to my neighbor?
Right.
Should I be able to do that? I mean, there was a time in our history, not very long ago, where there were small communities and people cared about each other and people cared about their neighbors and everybody knew each other, and somebody would grow vegetables and you would take stuff over to your neighbor's house and you would share shit. Not even bartering. You're being nice. You're being neighborly. Hey, I got more tomatoes than I need. I got more cucumbers than I need. Fuck, have you seen all the strawberries I got? Everybody was doing something, and now it's like we've all forgotten that shit, and we feel like everything that you grow with a little bit of sunlight and a little bit of water, that the government has a right to tax you on it, which is ridiculous.
Because you grow something.
Just because you can do something on your own, I think is totally insane to just assume, to give the power to the government to say, yes, go ahead, tax the fuck out of me. Fuck you.
Well, I wonder if you can get to the point where you don't. I mean, we have state taxes that are supposed to, run our schools and firefighters and police and roads and things like that. And then there's supposed to be a similar tax when it comes to the federal level to do our highways and take care of our bridges and things like that. I think I would assume, and I guess Rockwood should be a better person to answer about this, and you could probably answer to it, is there a way to have government and tax work in a way that it's working for us and not for the things that it's against? I'm not one of those people who's just like, make it all privatized and you keep every penny you want and there should be no tax at all and corporations can do whatever the fuck they want. I think that taxes and regulation work in a lot of instances, and that greed trumps fucking everything.
Sure it does.
So that's why I believe in reduction.
The best thing, the simplest thing would be everything. There is no more income tax. Everything is a sales tax. If you have the money, if you work at a job and you have a ton of money, expendable money, because you've already paid your bills, and you want to go out and buy your Mercedes or your Audi or whatever that you have to have, or your Beats headphones because you have to have that name brand.
Which are horrible headphones, by the way. They sound fucking terrible.
Allegedly. Anyway.
I listen to, as a personal opinion of myself, and I'm listening to headphones. Okay. Beats are terrible.
But they have a name on them.
Right. I'm just saying, if you have the money and you want to spend that extra money on a name brand, go ahead. But that shit's taxed. And if you don't have very much money, all you're doing is buying groceries and going home, and maybe you're going to the movies. That's it. You're living a very modest lifestyle. That's it. You shouldn't be.
What's the argument against that, though? What's the argument against a sales tax?
There is no. I haven't heard a single argument.
How do you parse it up? How much of that sales tax goes federal? How much of it goes state? How much goes city, local? And I think that's one of the main problems, that the federal government has become so large. It's this monster that keeps growing. You got to keep feeding it. And people say we need to strip the federal government down and give the power back to the states and make the states more accountable for constituents and all that stuff. But if you look at it, and we don't produce as a country anymore.
Right.
We're a service-based country.
And that's if you get rid of a department, say that we're done with this one department, we can get rid of it and save ourselves a ton of money. Boom, there's 100,000 people out of work. So it goes right back to what you just said.
Matt,
it's like, what are you going to do with all those people?
Matt and I first started actually doing a breakdown of the federal government, the different branches, the different departments.
Because you were helping me with the podcast about Affordable Care Act.
And what we surmised is that, I guess we didn't surmise it yet, but there's so many different federal departments, and they don't all do what they originally
what you think
did.
They would do,
or what they don't communicate amongst each other either.
Yeah, or they don't do what you would assume they would do. But then they've also got mirrored departments on the state level as well. You got federal and you got state. But, the federal government has become the country's largest employer.
Right.
So I mean, you're chained to it at this point. And if you wanted to get back more into production, get more production jobs in the country, that would be a difficult shift, because you want to cut these government departments, these programs. Well, then you're going to have a buttload of people who all of a sudden are out of work. How do we lure these companies back to the United States or get new ones to open up to start manufacturing again? Whatever they do, they produce. You're going to have to shift people, and that's always going to be. I mean, that's going to be an incredibly difficult period of time for this country. Is that making that transition?
Well, and that it takes me back to we're overpopulated.
Oh my God, you went there before I went there.
Yeah, I'm just because I knew what you're thinking.
He stole your thunder, Matt.
I mean, that's what it comes back to. We don't have enough. And then, have you heard? This is probably an old libertarian idea, but a poverty income. And so, whatever level you're at poverty wise, they give you a base income, and it's not based on how much work you're doing. And so, instead of doing SNAP and food stamps and all these different things that go to help people who are having a hard time, instead of doing all these things in this bureaucracy, give a solid flat poverty income each year.
What? Why?
That way, they're and then not inhibiting you from working as well, because a lot of people are sucking off the system by getting their welfare check, and that way they don't have to work. There's no incentive to work. Is with the idea behind it. If you give somebody a poverty,
the idea is going to, like it's ringing in my ear right now as, what the fuck? I'm sure it's going to be ringing in a lot of people's ears as you're talking about just flatly giving. Just give people who haven't earned anything a flat amount of money. Period. Done.
Or is that to say that they get this money? Is there the requirement to work? It's like you're working, you get this flat amount of money, whether you make less or not. I guess I don't understand the premise behind it.
And I guess the idea is also because some people are okay if they have enough food or food stamps. They're getting enough from a shelter, they're getting enough from a food bank, and they actually need money for their rent, and they can't pay their rent, but they have plenty of stuff to buy for food, and so it's a way of distributing the wealth in a more even way so that somebody has access to their money, and they can pay their rent, they can pay for food, and then what they have left over, they don't have a lot left over.
That,
you know what I mean?
That kind of echoes back to what we were talking about earlier in my kitchen about how crazy it is to live in fucking California where a house the same size as mine goes for $1 million, and mine is, when I built it, $165,000. Somewhere along the line, someone, not God, this isn't something that it's not something where I moved to this state and this is the way it is. This house is built out of gold. It's the same fucking building materials. It's the same amount of living space. It's protecting you from the elements. It should not cost you any more. Every house should just be based off the same system. It should be priced the same way.
Don't you think that sounds like a socialistic way of doing things?
Of course it's fucking socialistic, but you giving people who haven't earned any money or they haven't worked at all a flat rate. Here you go. Thanks for not doing a fucking thing. Here's money. You don't think that's socialistic?
To give people money?
Yeah, to give everybody a fucking base level amount of money.
Here's what it said. It says that it's supposed to work exactly how it sounds.
I'm just asking you if you think it's socialistic.
Probably, yes.
Well, purely.
Okay.
I mean, it's
the government would mail every American the age of 21 a check each month. That's it, and everyone's free to do with it what they want. So you have a base, idea. And so that would include you and I.
It's a fucking horrible idea.
But if it's giving us back, if it's giving our tax dollars back to us, wouldn't that be a good idea?
It's a horrible idea. Make it simple.
So is that
change the tax code? It's all sales tax. I don't want to give you my money and then you give me my money back. I want you to give my money that I've given you to people who haven't earned it. Here's the problem. It should be a sales tax. We should figure out a way to get businesses back in the United States so that we're producing shit again. And we need to stop saying to ourselves, well, where's the incentive? Where's the government incentive? You and I had talked a couple of years ago about, oh my God, look at this local university here that has a wind turbine.
Right.
And I said, that would be such a great thing if a bunch of people, like a co-op, were to get together and figure out where could they put a wind turbine. We're going to build a neighborhood. That wind turbine's going to totally pay for this. We're going to pay for it. We're going to take out a loan. And then as that wind turbine is generating electricity, we're going to slowly pay it off. Once it's paid off, those houses get that money. And you said, your comment was, well, I don't know what the government incentive is. There's no incentive from the government for that. And I said, why does there need to be an incentive for us as Americans to do anything anymore?
I don't think I remember saying that I need to have government assistance to do that. I thought the idea of you said about having a windmill and it being built in, taking care of a certain amount of houses is a great idea. I don't remember that part of the conversation. What
I had taken away from it, one of the things that I was passionate and disappointed about during that conversation, for whatever reason I remember it being, is I had thought you had said, if there's no, we're not going to do it, or people won't do it because there's not an incentive. There's not a government incentive.
Maybe I was thinking about upfront costs. And sometimes, like I think I talked about a friend of mine who got geothermal and solar panels on his roof, and it cost an initial so much money, but then he was going to get something from the government to help him pay that off on the backside.
But see, that's the problem.
And that's the incentive you're talking about.
Doing anything that you think is right, doing anything that takes effort or money or whatever, as long as you can look at the business plan and you can tell mathematically that it's going to pay for itself. It's
sure.
Logic. It's going to work. It's a no-brainer. You should be able to invest in that thing. Now, the problem is, I really want to have that person on from Kirkwood Community College who had his hands in the whole trying to get this thing built and how much did it cost and what kind of permits, what kind of loopholes did he have to go through? Because that's what everybody should be looking. Everybody should be looking at a way to improve their situation and not just be sitting on their hands waiting for the government to hand them a blank check. It's like military vets. We should not be handing them blank checks. I know they're fucked up from a conflict. There is a percentage of going into the military, a huge percentage that people signed up, I'm sure, like I did. If I sign up, this will give me money to go to college. Okay? Let's not all assume because they're a soldier that they're there because they want to protect the United States. A lot of people just don't have those options. So they signed up to get college money.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, there are those people who signed up because they love the America and they want to protect it, whatever. But you go overseas, you get hurt. I feel for you. I do. There's some empathy here. But we should not cut you a fucking check. Cutting you a check and just showering you with money doesn't fix the problem. Giving you free healthcare fixes the problem. You come home from that battle because you've signed up to defend our country. You've signed up to follow orders, period. And if you're hurt when you come back, or if you're having a problem psychologically when you come back, or you need any assistance, mentally, physically, health-wise, you should be able to show your card, no questions asked, you get everything you need. There's people that I work with that are getting blank fucking checks and they're not using it for the betterment of their health. They're looking at, what kind of car can I buy? How many fucking Xboxes can I get? It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. You're giving soldiers with PTSD, and I'm not judging you. People have a hard time seeing what you've seen. I would be a fucking wreck if I saw what some of these people saw. Would you give that person a ton of money so that they could go out and buy a shitload of guns?
No.
Probably a terrible fucking idea.
But does that money improve their quality of life? That much? Is that your aim? Is it to improve their quality of life or provide them with the care they're
We're trying. What we should be doing as a nation is taking care of our vets.
Yeah.
And taking care of our vets should mean trying to improve their quality of life. That's it. Bringing them back to being whole.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're not whole from coming back, whether it's mental or physical, from a conflict, we should try to be getting you back to being whole. And giving you a blank check doesn't fucking do it. And
Okay,
again, just like people on welfare or low income, giving you a fucking check does not make you whole.
Right. This was the Atlantic had an article. It was written by Matt Brewing and Elizabeth Stoker. And let me just read a little bit more to it because I'm not trying to make you angry, which sounds like you're getting pretty pissed off.
No, I'm not angry. I'm angry at the situation. I'm not angry at you.
Gotcha. Oh, I didn't think it was me. I just didn't want you to get too heated. We have a long way to go. It said in 2012 there are 179 million Americans between the ages of 21 and 65. The poverty line it would be $11,945 a year. That's a poverty line is, right? That would give each working age American a basic income equal to the poverty line, and it would cost a total of $2.14 trillion. Okay, the comparison is we almost spent $16 trillion in 2012, so it cut costs tremendously that we spend out already. And I wonder if part of that is because of the bureaucracy that's involved with so many welfare problems. So I understand your idea of we shouldn't give anybody a blank check, but this is the idea of saying it's your responsibility. You've paid taxes. We've all paid taxes. Here you go. We all get it. Do with it as you will. If I had an extra $10,000 a year, I, as a middle class person, might invest it, or, oh, let's put this thing aside so we can have family vacation maybe, or, oh, you know what, we can pay off one of our cars, or we can put something into a college account. If I'm destitute, I can still, if I'm living in poverty and I'm working at Burger King, I'm working at McDonald's, but I have one thing to fall back on. If I'm responsible and can pay my rent and do this, I mean, I guess it's kind of as I don't know. I see it as the ultimate safety net, but it really puts the responsibility back on that person instead of the person being or wanting to stay on welfare because they're always going to get this monthly SNAP, whatever. I don't know.
I guess I didn't hear you say. Did you say they had to pay the taxes? They had to pay taxes in before they received this benefit.
I would assume that.
Yeah, I guess you'd want to see that because if somebody wasn't
sales, if it's sales tax or whatever taxes they would normally pay, I don't know what kind of. Maybe I'm blanking on what taxes we pay when we.
I don't know. I mean, if you're getting food stamps, I guess you can have a job and still get food stamps.
Yeah. Oh, you do. Most people who get food stamps
have a job.
Oh, so, yeah. I mean, that's the majority.
Title 19, welfare, food stamps, WIC, all those programs. You just have to meet a certain financial
category.
But the idea though is you would hope that you would. I don't think anybody. It's hard for me to imagine, and I'm not. I have been in severe poverty in my life, but I was too young to remember it being. I can only remember my dad, and when I was with him when we were in pretty severe poverty, and my mother when we were in the same situation. My mom was on food stamps for I think like 6 months or a year, and it was. She could not wait to get off of it. It wasn't enough to live on. It was just barely scraping by. And it's from what I've read when it comes to if we stop taking the idea of these people are just fucking freeloaders to the idea of nobody wants to live like that. They are day to day, month by month, week by week, just making it to make sure they have enough food on the table. That doesn't take away the idea of responsibility and go out and get a better job. But if there aren't any jobs, what are you going to do? But I think what this is trying to say is we can save money by taking away all these big government departments, making it a straight fee that everybody gets back. I can only assume that it's some of our tax dollars coming back to us because what other money is coming into the government besides that?
Yeah.
And it says that doesn't mean there aren't ways to pay for it. No, it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Never mind.
No, wait. How could we possibly pay for something when we're already in debt? Well, we can't pay our own fucking bills now.
Well, you're right. Well,
so how can we possibly pay for something
instead of
new?
paying $12 trillion a year into something, we're paying $2 trillion. So that $10 trillion maybe can go towards the debt. I'm not saying.
You know what? I apologize. Maybe you're correct.
No,
maybe this person who wrote this article is correct. Maybe they are. I don't know. To me, I always go with. And this, people are gonna be like, yeah, that's not really a good way to react to something. Gut instinct. I hear something, gut instinct. Yeah. Unless something is really laid out for me and it makes mathematical sense, you're like, oh, well, that to me, it falls back to the Judeo-Christian ethic of teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime.
Right.
Don't give him 2 fish. Don't give him a fish and feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish.
But I think that part of me feels like that idea and that assumption comes from the idea that people who are on welfare and food stamps are lazy fuckers that don't do anything. That's where I think that basic idea comes from. And I'm not saying that there aren't people that don't abuse the system. We've all known people who have done it. or have
Correct. Hell, I know there's people that I work with that abuse the system.
The majority of people, I think, who are actually on welfare, WIC, women and children health benefits or food benefits. I think a majority of those people are working, trying to find a way out of the fucking horrible hole they're in. It's just they're very, very stuck.
To me, there's almost like a systemic decay of our moral fiber that runs amok throughout all of our society. As if you're talking about politicians, or if you're talking about people with food stamps, or if you're talking about middle class people or vets that are coming back on the plane, and there's a seasoned vet right next to them going, "Hey, just check that box right there. You'll get another $5,000."
Right.
Whatever it is, I don't even know what the dollar amount is, but it's so simple. It's so easy for everybody, both one percenters and all of us, to say, "No, I deserve that. I deserve that. That's mine. That's mine. I deserve it. You should give it to me." No. Shouldn't be given fucking anything. I don't want to be given anything. If you're listening to this podcast and you're entertained, then I'm entertaining you. You know, I'm not asking you just to, hey, I have a website. Just give money to me. Just donate money to me, because you're not getting anything out of this. Maybe you are getting something out of this, and if you are getting something out of this, and you have extra money and you want to donate, great. But I'm not asking for a fucking handout. You know?
No, but I think that the primary fault with that is we've kind of had this disconnect in our understanding. Some people, I guess, view the government's money. They look at it as this magical floating pool of money that's there to grab. You know, they don't understand that. Well, essentially, we pay all the money into the government. That's our only source of revenue is us.
Right.
It is us. You know, the government is us. It's an entity that we've appointed to direct for us and to channel money. And I think that most people, you know, they have that disconnect. They don't. I don't know if they don't rationalize it. They don't realize that that's our money.
Because you know the same people I do who are going, "Hey, I got emphysema now. it's not a big deal that I weigh 300 pounds, but I'm going to blame that on Iraq or Afghanistan, and I'm going to get a huge payday."
Well, you said it too. There were guys who were talking about getting I don't know what they were, deployment bonuses, or if they were for medical conditions, but they're talking about which motorcycle they're going to go out and buy, or which 65-inch plasma TV they just put up in their living room. And
those people are just as lecherous as the people on food, as people that are playing the games that are on food stamps, and they're not going to do a fucking thing, and they're just going to play the system and get as much as they can out of it.
Well, it goes back to there's assholes, everybody. There's no assholes. There's middle class assholes. There's welfare assholes. There's corporate assholes.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's a systemic thing. Yeah. That's what we need to focus on. Yeah. We need to focus on bringing jobs back to the United States. We need to focus on giving people this moral booster shot to say, I know I could fuck the system, and I've written a law that says it's not actually fucking the system. I know there's a law that says I can do insider tradings, but it's not moral or ethical, so I'm not going to do it. More people need to feel that way. They just need to feel like, almost like there's God looking over their shoulder. Maybe that's why we have Christianity.
What would Jesus do? The bracelets?
I'm just saying, there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, fuck, no, I'm atheist, I'm agnostic, you're not going to prove to me either way. But I can't think of any other way that somebody's not going to feel like, no, nobody's watching me. I can do it.
Isn't that, part of me feels like there's a part of human nature that's like that. I'm not going to get caught. Or, it's just me. It's just me here. You don't think about your conscience or your idea of...
Well, they don't want to feel like there's somebody watching. They don't want to...
Right.
Even if, it's something that, deep down inside, it's wrong. I guess if you know that somebody is not watching you, you don't want that invisible man in the sky judging you. You don't want the idea that eventually someone's going to take your actions, throw them back in your face and say, hey, guess what? You get judged now.
Right.
I think part of the problem with the government is, it's entirely cyclical. We have enabled the government. We have made them the way they are, right? And then in return, they have made us the way we are. Like Matt said, we're looking for the handout, the money grabbing. There's all these social programs. And I'm not saying the social programs are bad. Many of them are necessary.
Right.
But... Well, like you said, every time I have my taxes, we're sitting down trying to think how much shit we can get on there so we get a tax return, right?
Yeah.
Well, hey, did you give the charity? Did you do this? Did you get a receipt for that? It's all trying to get that money back.
Because they've created a system to where you have to do that.
Right.
But now you're seeing the government is trying to dip more into the charitable money. These non-for-profits, these charity organizations. They're trying to tax, revenue streams that they didn't have before. And you look at them; they're over budget.
Tax the Catholic Church. Debt cleared.
Or how about? I mean, that's one of the hard things I have a problem with, and probably why I am so defensive of poverty or people who are on welfare, having done it myself when I was younger, is I have a really difficult time with somebody talking to me about some, people that are screwing the system and they get, a couple extra $100 a month because they'd fuck things around. When you have corporate welfare where people who already are multi-millionaires are getting extra multi-millions because they have some kind of subsidy from the government. And to me, they are one piece of the same. They are the ones, either side of the same coin.
Right.
Except one person's fucking destitute and can barely feed their children. The other person owns an island somewhere and sails around the world whenever he wants to on a fucking whim. So, I mean, the discrepancy between there to me is an unfair thing. I have a difficult time even giving somebody who's screwing the system because they're so fucking poor and they're so destitute that they can't get themselves out of whatever shitty situation they're in. It's all their responsibility. I understand that. Then with some guy who has got it fucking made, and his kids have it fucking made, and his kids' have it fucking made.
Well, look at Martha. Martha Stewart.
I don't get it. I don't get what you're trying to say.
when the top six, when the six heirs of Walmart own 42%,
they have
of the
more
wealth,
money than 42%.
Yeah, they have more income than the bottom half of our population. That to me, there's a discrepancy there. That
now you're talking about class warfare.
Yeah.
And no matter how,
I think it's a good thing they made. I mean, I think it's a good thing they made money. It's not. It's a capitalist system. That's the way it works.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean just because we've built this country on capitalism doesn't mean that fucking capitalism is the best fucking thing ever. It doesn't mean that it can't be co-opted. It doesn't mean that it can't be used in horrible, unethical, unmoral ways. The fact that if I worked my ass off and created something from scratch, good on me. I'm a fucking inventor. I'm a job creator. I've just created Walmart. Okay. I'm the founder of it. Fucking awesome. That's the American dream. I'm going to become wealthy because of my ingenuity. That does not give the right to my kids and their kids and everybody else. I'm not going to say that they're heroes like the victims of 9/11 who burnt and died in the towers. I'm not going to call those fucking people heroes. They're victims. And just like the people from Walmart, the heirs of Walmart, they don't deserve to have 42% of the income
that their grandfather made.
Sam Walton. What the fuck did they do?
Yeah, but shouldn't we be allowed to hand down money? I mean, is it the government's responsibility to step in and say, okay, you're not allowed to? I know you made this money honestly. You can't give it to your kids or your grandkids.
No, I don't.
Well, because that's basically what Matt is saying is that you don't get to be wealthy because your grandfather was stinking rich.
You also don't. I'm sorry, you don't get to that level without creating or monopolizing.
Sure,
you don't have to necessarily monopolize it, but if it's successful,
dude, look at all.
Okay, Walmart's a monopoly, but my point was this. I was going to say this. The bigger problem I have with it is you look at how it's corrupted government officials. Right? Yeah. You look at people like Martha Stewart. All right, she went to prison for insider trading. Mm-hmm. That's illegal for her.
Right.
You got government officials that can do the exact same thing.
And it's totally
legal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I totally agree. It's been one of my gripes that is such bullshit that they've written into the laws that it's okay for them to do it. But for everybody else, it's not.
Well, that's why we have class warfare now. We have created a separate class. Look at an oligarchy, for example.
I love oligarchies.
Imperialist Russia was an oligarchy. You had a ruling class, which was essentially your wealthy families. They were the class, and you had the working poor. Okay. So you only had two classes. You had the wealthy and the poor. You had the French too before the French Revolution. We are essentially creating almost the exact same thing here. We have created a class all on its own above everything else. I mean, you have most politicians, lifelong politicians, look at the Kennedy family, spend their entire life in politics. Most of them, the entire family was independently wealthy before they got into politics. All right. You get a lot of kickbacks once you're in politics. You are independently wealthy. You become more wealthy after the fact.
And you start gaining power. I mean, you can start manipulating things to benefit you. And I think that's what you're talking about, is that's the hard part, is that once you become wealthy, we have tons and tons of examples on all different kind of levels and playing fields of once you're wealthy, right? And especially white and wealthy, man, you have a fucking lock.
Yeah.
Was it Chris Hayes, the guy who was on MSNBC, was caught with marijuana? I can't remember what the article was. He was either in Denver, he was somewhere, and he got caught with marijuana when he was going to leave or going somewhere. And he said, if I had been a black teenager, he was at the Republican National Convention in Denver, I think it was for 2020, the last election, and he was caught with marijuana. And he said that he thinks that they assumed that he was like a senator's son because he was a very well dressed white kid. Assumes that they thought he was a senator's son and didn't want the to cause a bunch of problems.
The bad press.
So they let him go. And he said, "I'm guarantee you, if I had been a black teenager, I would be in jail right now. I would be incarcerated." He's like, it's to me, it's such a blatant discrepancy in that.
There's a wonderful, wonderful TED Talk where the main premise is, does money make you mean?
Huh.
Okay. And what happened?
Once I got it, I can't let it go. I won't.
No, it was done by Paul Piff. Okay, and I'll have the link to the video on our website. But the basic premise was he invited people to come into this, 2 people to come in and play Monopoly. 2 students to come in and play Monopoly. Now, right before you sit down, he would say, I'm going to flip a coin. And if you get heads, you sit in this chair. If you get tails, you sit in that chair. Now, everything's already been dealt out. That's just the way it's going to be. If you sit in a chair, you get what's in front of you in that chair. And the game was rigged. You sat in this chair, you get twice as much money or 3 times as much money. And the person over here gets next to nothing. And the person over here gets extra bonuses for landing on shit where this person over here doesn't. It's a totally rigged game. And
like our society.
I mean, he basically set it up to be like our society. So if you were born into money and you automatically start out with a silver spoon in your mouth, well, I'm sorry. According to his study results, what he saw on camera consistently over and over again, he was showing video of this one guy. He's like, what you'll see, and this happened in every single case, was within 2 minutes, the person rolling the dice that had all the money would start making verbal jabs at the other person like, I can't fucking lose. Look at me. I'm an amazing investor. No. You're not an amazing investor. You started out with 3 times as much fucking money as that person. You were able to invest where this person wasn't able to invest. You were able to lose money and it not hurt you because you had the money to lose.
Take chances, take risks.
Yeah, you were able to do all these things. You're not fucking amazing. The only thing that made you different from her or from him was a flip of a goddamn coin. That's it.
Right.
Because if she would have got heads and you would have got tails, she, according to every single test result, would have been making shitty comments to you within 2 minutes.
Interesting.
Like laughing at you. Oh, he landed on my boardwalk or whatever it was. And like fucking laughing at their misery.
Right. I'm taking what little money you have. It's all mine now.
So he says, according to our studies, according to our experiments, money does make you mean.
Huh.
Within a certain amount of time, you start saying to yourself, you start justifying your actions.
And are the Warren Buffetts of the world and those kind of guys, the outliers of making?
They absolutely cannot connect with the rest of us. The 1%ers, when you reach a certain level of money ahead or above any other people, you cannot connect with them at all.
Huh.
Your reality is completely and utterly, totally different than mine.
Well, and I wouldn't necessarily. What's the 1% making how much money and above is considered 1%?
A large.
What do you mean? Is it more like $1 million? It's more than $1 million.
It's got to be more than $1 million. $1 million isn't even that much money.
I would be guessing at more than $500 million.
$500 million? I don't think that's right.
Why?
I want to know what I would like because I'm wondering because I know
you got a fucking Google in front of you.
Hey, I was gonna before I Googled income levels.
I thought that was amazing study. That was amazing.
That is amazing. I was going to say one more thing about this giving all Americans a monthly check. They said that one of the drawbacks. Economists, have long shuddered at the thought of a basic income because it strongly disincentivizes work. However, a basic income is just that, basic. Most adults would continue to work to earn extra money besides that basic $11,000 or whatever. The employment effects would not be non-existent, and there may be an increase in part-time work. And different studies have shown that when something is disincentivized to work, effects on work are stronger on economics.
So it's basically a stipend.
So basically a stipend, and you still want to get at. You don't want to live on fucking $10,000 or $11,000 a year.
It sounds
you want to make more money. So I don't know. And it says perhaps in the near future, Switzerland is voting on whether to do this in Switzerland, and they had 100,000 signatures or 125,000 signatures to try to make sure this referendum goes through. They would give every Swiss person that's that
Swiss,
yeah.
Every Swiss would get $2,800. Boom, everybody gets it, but nobody's going to want to sit back and live on that. They're going to work to make sure that they get more than that.
Sounds like
there's another TED. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I said it. I was going to say it sounds kind of like the Indian reservation in Tama. I guess the profits from many of the reservations.
Casino?
Yeah, they have casinos. They'll basically just pay out a stipend to every member of the tribe that lives on the reservation per year, based off I guess it's a yearly annual income from the casino.
See, when I hear that, it reminds me of another TED Talk, which I'll have in the descriptions of the.
We're very pro TED today.
Very pro TED. There's a lot of
even though they did ban Graham Hancock and Sarah Silverman.
And you know what? We'll put those videos on the description too.
The banned ones?
Yeah, the banned ones, because I think that those two, well, not those two. I don't know about Sarah Silverman. I hate the fact that it was banned. But the Graham Hancock video that was banned from TED, everyone should see that. And everybody in the audience, when they listened to his speech, was all fucking whistling and shouting and applauding, thinking that what he had said was amazing. So I think everybody should hear it. Everybody should see it.
Okay, so this is business. New York Times Business Day had a thing of what percentage are you?
Okay,
right, and you need to make. This is surprising. You need to make more than $380,000 a year to be in the top 1%.
Oh, okay.
So it's that and less that drops you into other areas. And according to this, I typed in my income. I won't say what that is. It's way too high. Was let's see. I'm in the top half. You would be in the top. You guys would be in the top half as well
of the middle class.
You don't know how much I make.
The top 29% of the nation when it comes to income. Oh. We're all in the top 29%.
You have no idea how much I make.
I have a general idea. All right.
High roller.
God almighty.
High roller.
All right. I have the TED Talk that I wanted to talk about. When you had talked about stipends and I'm going to give you X amount of money, everybody's X amount of money. There's a TED Talk where this guy talks about that they've known for the last 40 years, at least, that the carrot and stick routine only works for mundane, mechanical, factory work, put out a certain product. When you want somebody to be inspired, you cannot use the carrot and stick routine. And the carrot and stick, for people that are listening, or for Todd, who looks like he's befuddled, you can't. They did tests where they said, okay, I'm going to pay you $5 to do something, and I want you to do whatever I want you to do. I'm going to give you people $20. I want you to do better. I'm going to give you, and I'm going to incentivize the third group with $50. And what they found was, if it was a factory type process, if it was very linear, if you didn't have to use your imagination at all, then the carrot and stick routine, punishments and rewards, worked extremely well.
Right. This is a pretty famous TED Talk.
Right. But if you wanted somebody to think outside the box, if you wanted somebody to use their ingenuity, if you wanted somebody to be to create something, the carrot and stick thing actually goes worse. It actually functions worse. The people that are being given the most money, they fucking tank. They tank on the experiment. They do the worst. Their results are the worst than the people that got paid the least amount of money.
Is that because they have a higher comfort level with more money?
No, because I don't know, because they had more stress. The more stress, the more money that you gave them, they became They had tunnel vision.
Okay, that makes sense.
And they really didn't think outside the box. And I'll post that TED Talk. It was
would this be different than somebody who's born into wealth? It's more common, because I think I wonder if that's part of the experiment. That's kind of not something they thought of, was taking two normal Joes and saying, I'm going to give you an incentive and you not an incentive, or seeing how they affect each other. I wonder if you took like a person who's in poverty and a person who's super wealthy and born into a tremendous amount of wealth, and I wonder if their attitudes are going to be totally different about money.
Well, I think the point of that study was to show money is not the only motivator. In fact, at some point, money kills motivation. At some point, the more money you throw at something, it's not going to solve the problem. It's going to make the problem worse. So I think that's what that study showed. And again, I'll put the link on our description, but to inspire somebody to do something better than what they're supposed to do. They had this thing where there was a box of tacks, a candle, and matches. And they were showing a picture. These are the items that you have. And they said, they incentivized 3 groups of people. And they said, you have X amount of time, and I need you to get that candle on the wall and lit. It's got to stay there against the wall and lit. And nobody could do it. The people that got paid the most couldn't figure it the fuck out. So then they gave him another picture. Same candle, same matches, but now the tacks are outside of the box. And now they can see, because it's just given to them, that, if I take the tacks and I tack the box up against the wall, I'll place the candle on the box and I'll light it. Ding! It was given to me, But when you don't incentivize people with money, the people that weren't incentivized, they saw the first picture and they went, yeah, we'll take the tacks out of the box. We'll tack the box up against the wall. And they got it the first time. So he was showing clearly how the more money you throw at something, the more narrow-minded people got.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I saw a poster for Ron Jeremy for president. Did I tell you about that?
It
said Ron Jeremy for president. You're going to get screwed anyway. Might as well do it might as well have it done by a pro.
Wow. Hey, all right. I'm going to take this to a lighter note. Have you seen?
I already did.
No,
Pow.
Biff. You know what? Biff. I will. I'll give you credit for that. Thank you.
I hit these moments in our podcast sometimes when I was like, oh fuck, we gotta get this turned around fast.
Sliding.
I feel myself I feel myself sliding down, going, I'm getting angry, getting frustrated.
It's okay to get angry. You got to feel alive a little bit. Alpha House. If you go to Amazon Prime, which I think is really neat. It's just like Netflix. Netflix is now having their own television shows, just specifically for Netflix, just specifically for Amazon Prime. They have Alpha House.
Alpha House?
Alpha House. And it has, I hate to regard this guy as, his wife on Regis and Kelly Ripa.
Yeah.
So Kelly Ripa's husband.
Is her name Ripper? And they call it Ripa?
Ripa?
Ripa? Do you have to say it that way?
I have no idea. I'm going to Google Alpha House. Anyway, her husband plays a Republican. There's 4 main guys. They're all Republican senators. And they have to share a house in D.C.
And do the shenanigans take place?
Shenanigans do take place. One guy is clearly shown as very effeminate. And he gets,
hey guys, who didn't change out the paper roll? Come on.
It's his house. He owns the house and he rents out these rooms to other senators.
Don't drink the milk out of the carton. Come on, guys. We're friends. We're pals. Let's not get crazy here.
Dude, it is kind of like that. Like he's doing the dishes. He's got the apron on. And
That sounds so fucking boring. Is it a good show?
It's pretty fucking entertaining.
Because
it's 30 minutes. It's only a 30-minute long show. And these 4 guys are doing stuff. And who's the guy from Roseanne? the Roseanne Barr show.
John Goodman.
John Goodman's in it. He plays a leading role in it. He's one of the 4 guys.
Okay, so it's fictional. It's not real.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought it was like a reality show. Like there were 4 senators that really were 4 senators in a house that they're sharing. That's a true thing that's happened. That senators share houses all the time. And so there was one that was like this K Street home that these 4 senators lived in that had all these crazy things happen. So I thought you were saying it was a real show.
No,
reality
this is
show.
A comedy.
That's why I was saying, hey guys, they're crazy and this is stupid shit. Oh, I thought it was like a reality show. Sorry.
A comedy featuring
totally
John
wrong.
Goodman, re-election battles, looming indictments, parties, their party. These senators need a drink and a new housemate. Watch the first 3 episodes free. It's just, let's see. It's John Goodman, Mark Consuelos, that's Kelly Ripa's husband. Directed by Adam Bernstein.
Steen.
Jeez.
Fuck it. Whatever. You know what? I don't have to be able to pronounce their fucking names to know that it's a good show.
Or spell them properly.
I don't have to. I'm just Or spell. Yeah.
There you go.
Not everybody can.
Is that me?
That's a jive. That's
I missed
a jab
it.
at you.
Sorry, I was too busy on Facebook.
It was a jive turkey. Jive turkey, right? You're right towards you, Todd.
It's very funny. And
it sounds good.
And watching it, I think to myself, if any of that mirrors reality, if any of it does, our fucking society is doomed.
Well, I mean, don't you think
absolutely fucking doomed if any of it is mirrored?
I think we sometimes don't remember, and listen, I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody, but we don't remember, we don't allow ourselves to think that these are just people. Could you imagine if the 3 of us were in Congress? Oh my God. It would be, first of all, it'd be so much fun. But second of all, we're goofy. We're silly.
Right.
You and I talk about being 13-year-old boys in 40-year-old bodies all the time. So I'm saying that we have to remember these are just guys.
You might be a 13-year-old and a 40-year-old, but I'm a 14-year-old.
Matt actually is a 14-year-old girl in a 40-year-old's body.
14-year-old lesbian. Anyway, one of the examples in this show that they take lunch early. They leave the Capitol or whatever. They go to lunch early, and here's John Goodman eating food at a restaurant where all these other senators are eating. And this lady walks up to him, and he goes, "What are you doing? Why are you walking up? You can't do this in public." She's a Democrat. We can't be seen together. You can't be talking. Nobody can know that we get along.
That's funny.
Nobody can know we get along. I can't be nice to you. Okay, now listen. I'm going to wag my finger at you, and I'm going to make angry looks in my face, and then you're gonna turn around and walk away, act like I just chastised you, and then somebody else walks up and goes, "Hi," like they're greeting her, like they don't get it. But if that's true at all, why do you need to put forth false pretenses? Are we so fucking stupid as an American public that we can't just say, "Hey, that's a Republican, that's a Democrat," and yeah, they enjoy each other, and yeah, they're representing different views.
I'm really glad you went in that direction because I listened to your first couple of podcasts when you're talking about government, and it made me think about it. I'm like,
depressed.
That's
depressed.
Depressed, but it's because we've made the system so adversarial.
Right?
You have the primaries, you've got the parties, you got these 2 parties, and
compromise is a dirty word.
Yeah, you're only going to have major politicians out of these 2 major parties because nobody running on a third party ticket or any independent ticket's going to get in there, especially for a large, illustrious position, president. But then they're adversarial. Everything you see about the Senate, the House, it's adversarial. They're always fighting about it. Elections, my God, they're dirty. You've never seen so much poo slung except in like a monkey house at the zoo.
Or is it Afghanistan or Iraq that's having elections pretty soon? And we've been trying to help them put together polls.
To Afghanistan, yeah.
Polls and polling and like statistics for and putting out like campaign ads and stuff like that, and they're having a huge backlash because they know how false it is. They know how untrue it is, how it paints people in the wrong picture. It's not a true representation of the people who want to represent them. And this polling doesn't work, and they can't. And so they're rejecting this Americanized way of doing their politics.
I don't understand why anybody would not want to instinctively reject our way of government when they didn't agree with it to begin with.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, people agree with the idea of liberty and freedom. That's not what we do. We scandalize and we marginalize and we manipulate. Nowhere in there was freedom and liberty.
No, and we're working progressively. Oh, I use the word progressive. Progressively
Don't be a fucking progressive.
every year to minimize and regulate and take away freedoms anyway. So
The NOAA was just passed during this whole Phil Robertson debacle, which he's back on, is what I've heard.
Well, the last time when we talked our last podcast, he was already back on.
He was already back on. So it wasn't due to our podcast?
it had something
hey,
to
you
do
know
with
what? That sounds a lot better. I'll be honest.
Should get that on your Twitter feed that the Primal Scream podcast was responsible for getting him back on the show.
Oh, there you go.
There's some weight.
It'd be untrue.
Well,
But it goes back to the idea. I mean, if you can't make a better scenario for A&E to make themselves look like more douchebags than they are, we're not going to have you on because of this. You know what? Everybody wants you back, so I guess we got to have you back on.
Look at the fucking traction that it got. Look how many people were angry. I mean, I love Joe Rogan in almost a homosexual way. I love him so much. I just want to touch him and hold him and hug him and be in his presence. But that day, that episode where they aired, it was him and Duncan Trussell and another gentleman when they were talking, and Duncan Trussell is talking about being, accepting yourself and just not caring what other people think. And there's it's all this rainbows and puppy dogs and horseshoes. And
love yourself.
Yeah, love
yourself. Somebody else.
And those three guys, when they started talking about Phil Robertson, they turned into the most disgusting. They turned into the worst of all of us. They started ripping on him and making fun of him and saying he's just a stupid duck hunter and what's he doing out in the woods? Oh, he's probably fucking some dude, which a duck probably saw him fucking a dude, so that's why he hates gay guys and that's why he kills ducks, because there's a witness to him fucking a dude, which was a duck, and that's why he had his duck call, and that's why he wants to wipe out all the ducks.
Wow, that's ugly.
Part of that
really fucking ugly.
It's ugly, and it's just dumb.
Well, love and accept who you are, unless we don't like what and who you are. Essentially, is the message
you're hating him for his beliefs the same way he hates homosexuals.
And again, the same.
Well, you don't
99% of the time on the Joe Rogan podcast, he's talking about, let's not judge. I don't want to judge you. It's all right. I think I'm going to look at the best of a scenario, which I really like. It really pulled me in, that positivity.
Like I said about the Senators, he's still just a dude. He's just still a guy who makes mistakes, and he probably would go back and maybe change his mind about some of that stuff.
Watch the show. Just watch the show because, again,
I listen to it all the time.
What? No. The Alpha House. I thought you were talking about Alpha House.
Yeah. I do want to watch it. It's on what again?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. What is that a month, by the way?
It's like you pay for it by the year.
By the year, it's like $80 some for a whole year. You get free shipping on Amazon products, and
interesting. That's kind of cool.
Well, not every product is Prime.
No, obviously, but like, do they have like movies?
Yeah,
it's like Netflix. It's similar.
It's select products are pulled out and they're provided at the prime rate,
which is free. You get to watch a lot of things for free,
and they have a network that has their own TV shows.
Right.
They're like, Netflix came out with, and they had Hemlock Grove was their first show they produced. It was
that
pretty
good?
Yeah, it was actually.
I haven't
good.
seen it.
It's based off a novel. I watched it, was really intrigued, so I bought the novel. Haven't had a chance to read it yet. I've been a little preoccupied, but he hasn't written the second book yet, and they're already bringing out the second season of Hemlock Grove on Netflix. So they're probably going to spoil the story for him. Or he'll write it
when that happens.
Or he'll write it, and people will watch the show and be like, "Wait,
this is nothing like the book."
Yeah, no, it's like this book is not like the show. He should have written it just like the show. Interesting flop or
that is kind of a weird. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I think I want to watch that show.
Alpha House.
Mm-hmm.
I kept putting it off, but then I was like, I got nothing else to watch. I just got rid of my cable, and I got rid of my phone. All I have is internet. Let me see what's on. Let me see what's on Amazon Prime. Oh, Alpha House.
I do get excited about the next season of House of Cards with Kevin Spacey,
and that's a Netflix original,
that's
right?
That's a Netflix original, and I think it had like 11 Golden Globe awards, just like crazy. I mean, but when you watch certain shows, you just know, God, this writing is good. This acting is phenomenal.
It's got a great cast, yeah.
Oh, the cast is fantastic. But I mean, those guys couldn't have the dialogue they have if they didn't have phenomenal writers. I mean, Kevin Spacey obviously can pull off a backstabbing politician like nobody's business. But some of the dialogues he has with the screen and with you, you're just
what's
like,
that from Henry VIII? Is that from Henry VIII?
Yeah. And so it just makes me think like I try not to do this very often, but I go, it's got to be a lot like this in the Capitol. It's got to be a lot like this where I'm manipulating this to do this, and I'm going to do this to this person, and I'm going to go this way. And sometimes I change my mind, and I don't have to give you a fucking excuse as
well,
why.
let me ask you this. Do you think it's an awakening? Do you think that we're all becoming more awake to what is possibly happening? Do you think that there's people that are watching that show that go, oh my God.
I hope not.
Never,
Unfortunately,
ever,
no, probably not.
I
I
think
never
so.
ever thought that would be possible. Or is there people watching it going, yeah. And then you hear about something on TV and you're like, oh, big deal. He took a picture of his cock. Oh, big deal. He had a mistress. Oh, big deal. He signed for the NOAA, which, by the way, I keep saying NOAA. For those of you who don't know, real quick synopsis on NOAA, the bill that was passed during the whole Phil Robertson drama that you probably didn't hear a whole lot about. It basically says, ladies and gentlemen of the United States, you have no more fucking freedom. That they can come and detain you, arrest you, stick you in a fucking hole, not give you legal representation, not give you your freedoms as an American citizen, and you're fucked.
Yeah. Well, they've been building up to that for a while. When my brother he did 4 years in the Marines, he did 4 years in the National Guard. When he was getting out, they were actually, they weren't allowing people to change their MOS because they would run these special programs where they were training. I think it was specifically National Guard on I think it was domestic civilian detention training.
Is that not fucking terrifying?
That's scary.
So
fucking terrifying.
Prisoner camps here in the United States, probably where it's going.
Well, the part that bothers me too is to me it seems like it'd be so co-opted. You know, because we are a corporation-run government. Corporations own our government. They make the decisions. They make the choices.
So sad that we just say it so nonchalantly.
But I mean,
it's
so
true.
that means that they have control of this military that we have,
right?
Or they could have.
I think our military really is no different than Blackwater, which is a private security company. Blackwater. I think that when you say that our corporations are in charge of our military, which is in charge. Or I'm sorry, which our government, which is in charge of our military.
Right.
Junior was saying, why would I step up? Why would I step forward and say, hey, this isn't right?
Right.
There's probably more than me just thinking about it, but I'm not going to step forward because...
Well, your voice gets lost. Your voice, yeah, that's what they say is each individual voice gets lost in the storm of the many.
Mm-hmm.
So why speak up and speak out if A, no one's going to listen, and B, no one's probably going to hear you.
I mean, there's been reports, and it always makes me kind of giggle in a way when I think of that guy who talks like this. And he's talking about concentration camps and conspiracy theories and everything else. He's got his own.
Oh God,
what's his name?
Oh shit! He and Joe Rogan are good friends.
But he talks about FEMA camps,
right?
And he talks about, look, here's pictures of these older facilities that have now been redone, and you can't go in and you can't visit who's in there, and the barbed wire and the fencing system is set up to keep people in, not keep people out. And it's a very scary fucking place because they got railroad tracks going into these facilities.
Rail cars. Sounds like 1940s, doesn't it?
Dude, well, you think about the NOAA bill getting passed, and you think about people's fear of them trying to de-arm America. You talk about looking at FEMA camps. You talk about your brother saying that they're trying to train people for civilian detention centers.
Right.
These are all real things. So you line those things up, those dots on a map, and you're like, we're heading down that path. You can't, if you put all these things in planes.
Yeah, but if you say it, then you're a radical and you're
an extreme.
You're an enemy of the state.
Oh my God. One of these days, my door's going to get fucking busted in. I'm going to be like, what? Where the fuck am I going? What do you mean? What? Matt will no longer be seen. Hey, this might be the one thing that keeps us from getting detained. If I ever get detained, you know what's up, people. Rebel! Rebel!
Rise up.
Rise up, motherfuckers. I don't know why I said it like that.
Rise
up, motherfuckers. Rise up,
like
my
to
people.
Swear?
I do. I haven't drank at all.
I do have a really good friend of mine who has been listening to the podcast, and she lives in New York. And she goes, it was hard for me to get past all the swearing. And I go, would you stop fucking being so soft? You stop being a wuss and get to look at the substance. Everybody swears.
Yeah.
We may get a little gratuitous at times, but guess what? That's how we talk when we're around each other and we get kind of heated or we get passionate about something.
True.
We swear. It's just the way it is. Don't be so sensitive.
Is she hot?
You know her. So
Oh, so she is hot.
yeah.
She's
My mother-in-law actually listened to the podcast I was on talking about my book, and she's like, that Todd, he's got a potty mouth.
Todd or Matt?
She identified Todd. I think that
I think she's talking about Matt. I am not that bad.
I questioned her on it. I'm like, are you sure it wasn't Matt? Because I think he might.
Was it the bald guy or the other bald guy?
Grandma, I'm really sorry. I thought I was doing. I swear, but
that's
I'm baby
awesome.
step. I'm doing the work.
God, I'm going to swear like a sailor as long as you're getting in trouble for it.
Hey, man, you got to be who you got to be. Come on, love who you are.
Right.
Love who you are, Todd.
Yeah, love myself.
And your mom also liked how we made fun of your hair.
We weren't making fun of it.
We were talking about your 5 pounds of hair just sitting there.
I said it was gorgeous.
Hey, I gotta love it while I got it. Someday it won't be there anymore.
I don't know. I bet yours just changes colors. I bet you have a good head of hair for a long time.
I've had gray hair since I was 16. I love it. Going for a haircut when I was 16 years old, and old ladies were always like, "You got gray hair in here." She'd call the other hairstylist over to point it out. It's like, you're really making this awkward.
Honey, are you stressed? Are you okay?
It'd be funny. Why don't we switch roles? And I'm going to cut your hair, and I'm going to say, "Oh, look, you got like 10 extra pounds on you. Come over here. No, Jim, come over here. Look how fat she is."
That would work.
How fucking good would that go over?
It'd be beautiful.
Fuck you.
I would have been kicked out, more than likely.
Hey,
well, I am.
Todd's been reading your book.
I know.
Todd,
I'm pretty excited about it.
Todd's fallen in love with it.
Just love it.
I don't want to be the only one.
We talked about earlier, today about being skeptical. You hope something's going to be good. You always hope that, but then you walk in going, okay, my expectation's too high. What am I going to compare it to? You gave me a lot of pointers about it. There's lots of new things in it. It's not like the dwarves and the elves and just normal stuff. There's a lot of other creatures. And I was like, what else can there fucking be? Tolkien's got a lock on it. I don't know what else you can make up. A doodly-doodly-doo or,
doodly-doodly-doo.
So, what's it going to be?
Those are amazing fucking creatures.
What I liked, first of all, was not necessarily the creatures because I'm only, 5 or 6 chapters in. It was more of the storyline.
The storyline
just grabbed me right away. And I was pleasantly surprised of being kind of pulled in like automatically with the characters and having the ownership for the characters right away. Like right away you're going, oh gosh, what's going to happen to so-and-so? Or holy shit, what happened to him? He hasn't mentioned him yet. I hope he comes back later on in the story. Oh, okay. And then it would start on a new character and like, oh, all right, a new person. Yeah. All right. You get their background. And all of a sudden you're invested. And I guess I don't want to make it sound like I didn't think it was going to be good.
No.
You know what I mean? I expected you to be a good writer. But I think that after so many years of reading novelists like you and I both have, we have this expectation.
Yeah,
we have the Tolkiens. We have the Terry Williams. We have the people that, Piers Anthony, that we just really love and we know how good it is. And I am excited that I think of you in the same vein so far. I'm saying that I'm enjoying reading it. I'm enjoying to read more. I don't want it to end because there are definitely books even from those authors that I mentioned where I'm like, whew, this is getting long or this is going forever. And so far I'm 6 chapters in and every time I think about it, I'm like, oh, I have some free time. Shit, I'll read the book, So it's exciting to read it and to see it living up to what Matt said, and again that I'm enjoying it because I think like you, I read all the time, and I feel like I have a pretty good background knowledge of the books that I like and what I enjoy about reading, no matter what the genre is. So yeah, it's been a pretty fantastic ride so far. So.
You couldn't pay me a bigger compliment because writing it, anytime you set out to write a project, you want it to be fresh. You don't want to just mimic what everybody else in the genre before has done. You don't want to, have the same stories, have the same kind of characters. And then you want characters that people can genuinely become attached to. You want, and they all can't be heartfelt characters because, you're going to have some bad guys, but you can skate the gray line, have some bad guys that say, okay, well, that guy, he really isn't that great, but, I can kind of relate with where he's coming from. So the hard part was, write a story that was original, and I wanted to write something fantasy. I love the fantasy genre. It's so deep and it allows you so much flexibility.
Oh, and you can be so creative.
Yeah, and then I wanted, you know what, darn it, I wanted some new monsters because I read right before I started writing it. I wrote the last, I read the last Christopher Paolini book. He wrote the Aragon book series, and I was a little disappointed with it because there was almost this kind of complete lack of original creatures. Yeah, it had dragons, and then and
which are not.
It's not really original. But then it had, you build up to this big scene that you're waiting for the entire book series, and I'm probably going to spoil it for some people, but the only thing you really have to look forward to for baddies is the giant snails. It's like, really? So, a little lackluster. I was disappointed. His writing is really good. I was disappointed with the originality of the stories.
Do you think it's hard to write those expected endings? Because I think my worst, absolute hands down worst ending of a series was the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I read every book that came out by that. He had books he said, in a drawer that he started writing. He wrote all the other books in between. It took him a year. I think 1971 is when he started writing the Dark Tower series, and he got finished like 2 or 3 years ago. So 40 something years of writing a book series, and he wrote all these other books inside of it, and movies and all this other crazy shit. So
TV series.
At the end of, and this is a spoiler alert if you haven't read the last book, do not listen to this next part or skip past it.
I haven't read it. I'm just going to plug my ears here.
Okay. La 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 la. But it became cyclical. So at the end, the very last book, he gets to the top of the tower. You're like, fuck,
finally
12
the
books of the craziest fucking
there.
thing I've ever read in my entire life. And it starts over again.
Oh.
It starts back on page 1 of the first book.
Where he's following the guy.
He's following the dark man across the desert. And I remember putting the book down and like feeling like my blood leaving my body, like sick to my stomach. Like, you've got to be. I've invested a good majority of my life reading this book series, I understand the idea behind it. Once I was past my initial depression and my anger and frustration, I understood the idea of it's always a test. You're starting over again. We're always trying to not make the same mistakes twice. Those kind of things. I got it.
But you felt he was kind of passing the buck on the ending. You wanted an actual conclusion.
I think that's what we all want. But I think life is. And if Stephen King was going for that, I want to make you fucking sick.
No, I don't think
you never know. He could. No. I'm not angry, but just, oh fuck!
I gotta start over
cyclical? Again. What the fuck? There is no ending.
Right.
There's no meaning to any of this. I'm just gonna keep fucking reliving all this horrible shit. And if that was the feeling he was trying to get you to get to,
right?
He's a fucking genius.
Yeah, and if you think about it, in your own life. How many times have you found that going, oh, fuck, how am I in the same, how did I get back here? I mean, I'm in the same spot debacle? I was before. This isn't happening again. What do I need to do to change it and make sure it doesn't happen again? Once you start realizing
why
that it
why
is
am
cyclical.
I biting this pillow? How did I get to this point?
And Matt takes it way down the rabbit hole.
Never do those types of shots again. Never go into that bar and say, sure, you can buy me a drink.
As a writer, do you think that when you think about that ending, you think like, oh, that's cool, or do you not have an idea about it? Because
I give him props for it. I mean, that takes. I
didn't want to hear that.
But
I wanted to hear
but I will say this though. Writing the ending to this book, knowing that it was going to be a series, was painful. I blew through the first 2/3 of it in no time. I mean, it went easy. But approaching the book and knowing that I had to write the ending and the ending was coming, and I had to draw the story to conclusion was almost painful. And I did. I pushed my way through it, and it wasn't some of my best writing. The ending,
but I mean, is that because you're invested in your characters, you are invested in your story?
You're invested in the characters and in the story, and sometimes, within the context of the story, you struggle to find that clean place to draw it to a close. Besides just finding a nice clean sentence, chopping it on after that, and putting the end.
Right.
Which, people will love you or hate you for that. Yeah.
People have done that.
Sure.
Love you or hate you. And that's why I struggled with it for so long. I went back, I chopped like that 60 pages off the end, and I rewrote the whole ending. I'm like, this isn't clean. I don't like it. And if I don't like it, I can't expect anyone else to like it.
Oh God, isn't that anything? How can you expect to be good at anything you do or enjoy it if you don't enjoy what you're doing?
Yeah. And you when you were talking about enjoying it, you're only 5 or 6 chapters into the book. The hardest part about finishing a book is that I knew the next step was I was going to put it in other people's hands and have them read it. And knowing that somebody else is going to judge your work it's a scary thought. And writing it, I felt good writing it. I liked how the characters came together. I liked how the story came together. I liked it overall as a project. But then, moving to that next step of putting it in someone's hands. In this case, I was putting it in Matt's hands. Say, okay, read it. Be gentle.
Please be gentle. It's my first time.
And you can't expect every book to be phenomenal in the first draft. It's going to take revisions, and it's going to take people looking over it and getting another sets of eyeballs on it before it becomes what it's going to eventually become. But I'm happy for you because you get to see the copy now that's had a bunch of people's eyes on it.
And to be honest, I know you were invested by reading his book and having gone through drafts with him. I would be hard pressed right now to read a third or fourth draft. Unless it was changing enough, like you said, that the story has changed and flexed around quite a bit. Because I am one of those holistic thinkers that bogs me down sometimes. That's why when you showed me that author that had 12 books, I looked at the screen and saw all 12 books. I'm like, I'm not fucking reading that. That'll take me forever. I'm not thinking about chapter 1 of the first book and not worrying about anything else. It's like CrossFit. When somebody says, hey, you're doing 100 burpees, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not doing 100 burpees.
Start out with 10.
Just start at 10. How Nick Rosen all the time says, just start out.
From CrossFit 2.2.
That's right. They just start with 10. So it's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? Fuck. Now, the interesting thing is that I've read your book up to the point now, I could see myself reading it again. And what's funny is I was telling Junior about it, and he was, because I
haven't told you this part yet.
I got him excited about, when he started reading, really young. He was a very good reader by the time he was in first, second grade.
Okay.
Loved to read. And so as soon as he was at the age I thought I could start introducing him to the books that I liked, like the Sword of Shannara and some of the Ted Williams books, things like that.
The real books.
Huh?
The real books.
The real books. I was like, you're going to love these. There's one called The Dragonbone Chair by Ted Williams.
It's wonderful. I love that book. I love that series.
It's a guy named, I called him Simon because I associate with I think it was Simone was the kid's name in the book. But that was the first one I told him about. And then there's a book called The Magician Apprentice.
I've got that one, yeah. Raymond Feist did that.
Raymond Feist. Yeah. Just that's by far even before the Sword of Shannara series. The Magician Apprentice series are my favorite books ever, and those are the first books I gave him to read. And so, from a young age, he's loved novels. And so, I was telling him I didn't tell him about the story. I don't think I started reading it yet before Christmas. But I was telling him, like, yeah, this guy wrote this book. It's got this new stuff in it. It was going off of, I think, our last podcast.
Okay.
And he was and then so recently he's like, he said it sounds so cool. And then he's like, are you reading that book? I'm like, yeah, I'm a few chapters in. I just can't believe how good it is. It's phenomenal. And he's like, I cannot wait to read that book. Because he knows that if I'm excited about a book, hands are he's going to really enjoy it as well. So he's super excited about it. So
that's awesome to hear.
Yeah. Todd goes, so do you think Aaron would mind if we got Junior a copy of the book somehow? I go, well, let's just wait, because I don't think he's at that point yet where he wants to release this genius out to the world,
or have it get lost. That's more of a bigger thing. Have him misplace it somehow. It'll be a bad thing.
And without his stamp of this is mine.
Yeah,
right.
I've been really careful about that. Like every copy I've given out, I make sure that call me a little bit paranoid, but when you spend that many hours working on something, I spent thousands of hours working on this. I just last night finished putting the rest of the proofread changes into the computer. It took me, I'd only get 5 or 7 pages done per hour. That's 547 pages. So it took me, I think I had about 100 hours just putting that changes in. But, every time I gave out a copy for people to read, I'd always give out paper copies because that way you could track what went out, what came back in. Plus people, I'd actually tell people, I told Matt, all the
Take
other
notes,
notes in there. Mark it up, write on it, give me suggestions, identify stuff that sounds or reads awkward.
Oh,
if I've called or spelled somebody's name one way half the book and I change it, just little things. Don't be afraid about marking it up. I'm more than willing to pay the cost in paper and toner, because it's gonna make the end product even better.
Yeah, and sometimes it would be just the comment of, timeline wise, does this really fit with this, or should that event happen before this event?
Sure.
Whereas you have it written. So that's why I could do to read revision 2 and revision 3, because the first time I read it, it was like looking at a ship that had not been sealed yet. You just see the skeleton, you see the bones of it. You're like, that's a good story. Let's make it pretty now. Fill it in. So the second revision, I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, dude, you've colored the pages. You know, it's so much more detailed. It's so much fuller. I love this scene. I can actually picture the scene in my mind now. Whereas the first time I read it, I didn't. I knew I had my own scene in my head, but this really paints it for you. And it's the third revision was like, for me, the third revision was more along the lines of somebody almost putting me at the top of a water slide, and it was effortless. They just set me down. And I was done before I knew it. I was done. It was like that. You know, you read this book and it flows so nicely. It's so full. It's so colorful. You so much want to get to that next chapter because maybe you had a favorite character, which go ahead and pick from the plethora. And you've finished a chapter with your character, and now this next chapter is going with a completely different character. And you're like, oh, I can't wait to get to my character, the one that I really identify with, or the one that I really want to read more about. And you gotta work. You gotta read through these other chapters
to get back
to the one that you want to really catch up on, and it flies by.
And see, I'm only a few characters. I would say I'm more than a few. I'm only a handful of characters in, and I'm already thinking about the characters that
you've left behind.
I remember. Yeah. But I can't wait to know more about. The nice part is, though, is as I've come upon a couple chapters will not repeat themselves, but a character will repeat himself after a couple chapters. Mm-hmm. And that was good because it filled in more of the backstory for me. And so that's one of the good parts about the writing so far, Aaron, is that it seemed like I'm given just enough. I'm given a nice solid background so that I remember them, I like them, I have some investment in them, and then it switches over. And I don't go, God damn it, I want more of this person. I'm like, okay, I got somebody new. Awesome. I know I'll come back to that guy or that girl. We'll find out more. And then I keep going forward. So I don't know. I have really rose-colored glasses on, maybe.
Well, you're gonna read it.
It's so good.
When you finish the book, when you finish what he's given you, you're gonna hand it back to him, and you're gonna be like, that is fucking epic.
I can't wait.
That is fucking epic.
And I'll do it on the podcast.
And I'm profoundly changed by knowing you. All right, maybe not profoundly changed but how about I really enjoyed this piece of ingenuity and craftsmanship. And that's what it is. I mean, it is a craft to have taken it from what it was. It's almost like somebody taking a raw piece of wood and chopping at it with a hatchet, and then they come in with the tools and they smooth things out and they chip away the inessentials and
file down.
Yeah,
smooth it out, sand it.
What you have now is this sanded down, smooth, varnished, stained, beautiful piece that you can just look at for hours.
Nice.
Yeah, I almost want to stroke myself out. That sounded really good.
I knew we were going there. Could you just feel it coming? I could feel it coming.
The look on his face. You could see it coming.
It was that pre-orgasmic look, wasn't it?
But that's
not that any of us know what that looks like. But
no. You shouldn't. You fuckers.
Yeah, I tried to break perspective in the book often, which wasn't really that difficult with as many characters as I follow on it. But I have a hard time reading books that don't ever break perspective.
Yeah.
That just follow one character the entire book, especially if they're longer books. I have a hard time with that. I feel that, in order for proper pacing and to keep people, engrossed in a book, it needs to break perspective. That way you can give people a wider, view of the world around them, a wider view of the events unfolding around them. And I think that it makes a book more exciting. I really like books that break perspective a lot, have a lot of characters that you can really get involved with.
Are you going to have a map?
I already drew a map. Okay. But I'm a pretty horrendous artist.
It's great. And not because I was confused. It was more of, I was just like, I just want to see, because
in almost every book there's
the
a
Bear Claw
map.
River. It was for one chunk of it, and then I'm in a new chunk, and so I wanted to see kind of how they were diverging, because I think they've talked about some of the cities that I'm in now with characters. They've talked about it in past ones. Oh, those people are from that city up north or whatever, and so I just want to. I'm so visual. I just need to see this spatial thing in my brain.
Well, when we're so used to it, when we read science fiction or fantasy books, there's almost always a map. When a novel is encompassed with such a story, it's so large, it's so epic. Any epic book, any epic series has to have a map.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly, I am anyway, constantly going back to the front page.
Yeah.
A few pages and going, okay,
where were they? And now they're here?
How the fuck is how is he gonna get from the bottom of the map to the top of the map in 2 days? Shit's happening. You know, how's he gonna beat these people here?
I was actually writing it, and I had to the point where I had to draw a map, because to keep stuff straight in my head and to keep stuff writing it, I had to draw a map. So I sat down, and I had a place at work where I couldn't do anything else. I took my little notebook in, and I just turned a page sideways and started drawing based off the information I had before, and which was fairly easy, because going forward before that, I had to create kind of a glossary of important terms. It was people, places, and things that were happening, have happened, or were going to happen, because I couldn't keep it all straight.
Wow.
And it was my external hard drive essentially. But yeah, the map, I drew the map. I'm not really a very good artist. Both my siblings are actually phenomenal artists. Maybe at one point I might contract out to have somebody do like a professional map for it, especially if it goes in a publication soon. But
right.
The map I think especially with fantasy books is very necessary.
There's Chicago yesterday. Look at Lake Michigan. It's just fucking solid ice. It looks like out of a movie.
Wow.
Like, it's all white. It's all blue. It's all fucking frozen. I mean, even my gym, CrossFit 2.2 the other day, fucking pipes froze. I mean, they have, obviously it's not their fault. I'm sure it's their landlord's issue, but it's like, it just gets so cold. People are like going, oh, we're so worried about our car starting. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I own a Honda. Boom. Start up right away. But I guess there's a lot. I guess some tow company in Iowa said that they had 50 calls by noon yesterday, and they usually get half of that a day.
Wow!
Just to go out and jump cars. It'd be a sweet gig, wouldn't it?
Well, that's why the schools were
a lot of money,
because the diesel school buses wouldn't start.
Oh, the fear of them, yeah. Not starting.
At the same time, too, we have enough rural areas around, still in the state of Iowa, that you get a kid standing outside waiting for a fucking bus to come. That's the other part. That's super dangerous.
And how many kids walk to school? How many kids walk to school? So if you're going to have school,
there are kids. There's
a lot of kids
that walk to school.
There's a lot of kids. Yeah. Anyway, Aaron, thanks for doing this impromptu podcast with us, buddy.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
A snow day podcast. That's kind of what it was.
It was nice you guys to have me back on. And I did want to say that I decided I've got a short story that's going to go up on my website here pretty soon. It's going to be related to the book. So people don't have to read the book, but if they read this short story and then read the book when it comes out, it will make a lot of sense.
Is the main character's name Todd?
No.
All right. Let's not promote this. Can we cut that part out?
Maybe.
I made a mistake by telling Todd that there's a character. I go, so have you met Amalik? He's like, yeah, I've read about him. Yeah, that's my two kids' names thrown together.
And when I read Issa's name, I was like, I knew who that was. That's his favorite name in the whole world. We had a dog named Issa.
Yeah,
we had a dog named Issa. Yeah, we weren't. We weren't a couple at the time.
That's another one of those really cool things. But that's cool. When are you going to have that on your website?
It's about halfway done, so probably within the next week or two, it'll be up on the website. Plus, I'm going to take the very first chapter I ever wrote. I talked about it last time I was on, how I wrote it, and after I finished the book, it didn't make sense, so I cut it. I'm going to actually post that as a short story on the website as well. So, along with new blog posts and the sample chapter, which will be available in both PDF and EPUB, so it'll work on tablets and smartphones. I'll have a couple short stories for people to enjoy. So,
you know what, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but your website could, if you ever wanted it to, turn into one of those things where beginner authors might want to be like, hey, I have a sample chapter. I have some sample writing. Can we put it on your website under fantasy? Or, I mean, you could be like this. You could be the source,
like a hub for
so that people can go and read different types of fantasy stuff, and you're also putting out your own books.
That would actually be amazing. I already put a book table on there where I've got fantasy books that have inspired me or some of my favorites. I've got Terry Goodkind on there, Bob Salvatore, who wrote some of my favorite fantasy books of all time. Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park. I put some books on there just to recommend books that I recommend, but I would love it. Twitter's got a really neat writers community on it that I've kind of got involved with. Follow each other. They send out information, really neat articles on the writing process and how to fine tune your abilities as a writer. But I mean, if people wanted a release short stories, novellas, anything they wanted to get out there, and they didn't know how to get it out there, I'd love to post stuff on my website.
Oh, it's a great idea.
Yeah. I wanted to do a shout out to one of our Twitter followers that they retweet almost every single thing that we put out.
I mean, you're right. I mean, they, of anybody, have really, really been with us for a long time.
Watch, Aaron's like, oh, that's me.
No, it's not him. I'm pretty sure it's not him.
I have retweeted some of your stuff out before, though.
You have. Yeah, I appreciate that, too. But, yeah, what is that?
It's like B29735 or something like that. And we're sorry if we're getting that wrong on you, because we really do appreciate you getting our name out there and helping us out a lot. Because they tweet all the fucking time.
Shit. As soon as I put one of our... Oh, by the way, something new. I'm slowly putting all of our podcasts on YouTube.
B27321.
B27321. Thank you very much for retweeting all of our stuff.
Or ma'am. Dude or ma'am.
Yeah, dude or ma'am.
Chick or lady.
I almost hope you're a chick and you're really hot.
I don't know. Some of the hot chicks on there do a little picture of their booty and hot chick number 9.
Or it's a selfie.
Or it's a selfie. Yeah. There you go.
But if it's a dude, hey man, thanks a lot for all the support. I really appreciate it. Anyway, I'm putting all of our podcasts, starting with I have number 18, I think, and 17 up there. But I'm putting all our podcasts on YouTube also. So if you want to tweet out or Facebook or contact anybody else, if it would be more convenient for you to listen to us on YouTube, that's going to be another avenue for you to go to listen to us. And again, we really appreciate the like button. Hit like if you're watching us on YouTube. Comment like crazy, because that's a much easier way for us to see conversations that are started by what we're talking about. And you can go ahead and rip on us if you want. Yeah. That's also cool too.
And again, we do this kind of anonymously. So we try to, we've thought in the past about trying to put it on YouTube as like something you can actually watch while you listen to the podcast. But I think the technical difficulties of that would be a little too much for me. That's for sure. At the same time, we're not sure. I almost would wear I'd love to wear like a Mexican wrestling mask. That'd be great. Something that makes so you can see us talking about stuff, and you could see the people who we have on. That would be a really plus.
Yeah, I was actually thinking I might put a camera over there on a stand and because I don't care if somebody sees me. And see me and the guest. I don't care if somebody sees me. It doesn't bother me.
Maybe I can just put a baseball hat way down on my head and put a beard on. How's that sound?
And put a beard on.
I'll get one of the Duck Dynasty beards.
What's great about watching people do those podcasts is just their expressions and how pissed off was I getting when I was talking on my soapbox and how much we were laughing and whatever.
And how we were waiting for the sexual comment to come out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
the vein in his head that looks like it's going to burst.
I have a vein?
You have veins, plural.
Wow, shit. Yep. I need to calm down.
Well, hey, you guys, thank you so much for listening to us today. We want to make sure you get to our page, our webpage, which is theprimalscream.org. On there, you can subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher. Also, you can get us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. We're probably not as active on Pinterest as we need to be, but you know what? There's only so many moments in a day. And I have enough shit on my plate to go fucking pinning pictures and shit. But that's okay. We're going to try our best. We have some cool things on there already. Twitter is a big one for us. We tweet pretty continuously all day long. So please follow us on that. And please like us on Facebook again. And lastly, it's a beautiful world out there. Let's keep it on a positive note. It's a beautiful world. Go out there, be different, be the change you want to see in the world. And we're going to keep trying to do it here because we know we can get on some pretty dark rants, but we are pretty positive people on the most part. Yeah. Go to RT. Go to NPR. Go to some other alternate news sources.
Go to some of our links. Watch some 20-inch pygmy videos. You know what? Take yourself out of reality for a little while. Be that change, but then also you got to take some time. Curl up with a good book.
My book.
Aaron's book.
He didn't even give us time to say anything.
I know.
He's all over that shit.
I know. He's got to trust me more. I was kind of going that way.
Edit.
I'm not going to edit that shit because people are going to be laughing at me.
Exactly.
But yeah, man. I really appreciate you coming in today.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me out here. It's been a neat opportunity.
Was it better the second time?
It was. A little lower key.
And you said you were less nervous.
We got a chance to sit down and talk beforehand, which helps the nerves settle.
Well, yeah, usually
my name is Aaron. I wrote a book. I'm so glad you have me on.
Normally, I like to give my guests a couple of beers and maybe a little Date, rape, drug.
Well, where's mine?
Well, you want to roofie Aaron for what reason?
Just relax him. It's okay.
Oh, so our author's passed out. He's supposed to be back with us in 3 to 4 hours.
I am in no way endorsing the use of roofies unless the person knows about it ahead of time. No, I'm just kidding. I don't.
They won't remember afterwards anyway. So
exactly, it was all good.
But anyway, thank you very much for everybody for listening to today's podcast. Keep listening, keep joining, keep liking, keep making comments, and we'll keep making podcasts. So yeah, I'm Matt.
I am Todd.
And I'm Aaron.
We'll see you later.
Adios.
Good night.